He kept his head down, running, as the misty rain drifted downwards in sheets. A gust of wind shifted the rain sideways, and an extra heavy shower pelted him from above. His hands, although cased in gloves, felt like they were frozen around the jerrycan that pulled heavily on his arms. Larger raindrops hurled down, seeping through his black clothing. Everything he wore was as dark as the night. He was grateful the dense clouds blocked out the moon and the stars, anything that could have lit his face. A couple of well-aimed stones had taken out the closest streetlights, and one of the other members of the team had taken care of the security and building lights illuminating the front of the Kallygarn Shire Council building. Now, all three of them were under the veranda, packing jerrycans around a 60-litre oil drum. 6 filthy, oil-stained hands worked quickly. None of them spoke. They had practiced this many times, leaving nothing to chance. "Shit," he muttered, as he jammed his fingers between 2 of the cans. He tried to shake out the pain, but the cold had already crept through his joints, making his fingers throb harder. Neither of the other 2 said a word until minutes later. "Done?" Their leader glanced at a watch. The hands on his own watch, glowing green, told him they'd been there for 6.5 minutes. It was time to go. 30 seconds, the third voice answered. With fingers still aching, he turned and ran backwards towards the black car that was idling at the end of the pathway, ready for a quick getaway. As the driver, he was responsible for getting them out of here safely. His heart had started thumping when it slipped into the driver's seat about an hour and a half before, but now it threatened to break free of his rib cage and hurl itself out into the open. Deep breath. Check the surrounds. 10 more steps, and he'd be in the car. The hardest part would be done. Hopefully, once they drove away, his heart would stop hammering so hard that it made him want to gasp. A mixture of rain and sweat on his brow tickled as it ran downwards, and he swiped at it before taking a breath and glancing along the road. The street was still empty. No cars. Not even a stray cat. Which was a stupid observation, because he couldn't remember the last time he'd ever seen a cat. Thank fuck. If a cat appeared at his side now, he'd probably leap to the moon. A distance away, a streetlight glistened on the wet bitumen, and murky shadows stretched out. Adjusting his night vision goggles, he checked left again. Empty. Right. Car lights. He froze. 3 steps left to the car. Thin beams approached from the far end of the street, reflecting on the wet road. Hissing tires drove towards him. Shit! They hadn't practiced being caught. In hindsight, that's the first thing they should have made plans for. He looked back at the other 2, waiting for them to notice, to tell them what to do. But they were running towards him as fast as their crouch gait would let them. They were 30 meters from the ute. He flicked his eyes back to the lights, thinking how stupid he must look, dressed in black with a balaclava and night vision goggles, standing out here in the drizzle. A fox caught in the spotlights. 20 meters. He caught a flash of blue inside the car as its lights flicked to high beam. Jesus! Is that the cops? He managed to whisper. 10 meters. But then white blinked orange, and the car turned down another street. Everything fell into darkness again. Let's go. The words were said calmly, without panic, as one of the others passed him on the way to the ute. Now. He knew not to argue.